7. Everyday vitamins that may secretly be damaging your brain after 60. You might be taking vitamins every day thinking they'll help you live longer and stay healthier. But here's what nobody tells you: some of the most common vitamins could quietly bring you closer to a stroke. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because no one warned you. I've seen far too many older adults, smart, healthy people suddenly suffer a stroke, all because they took the wrong form of a vitamin or the wrong dose or believed the hype without being told the risks. It's heartbreaking. That's why I created this channel, Wellness Unfolds. I wanted to share the things I wish my patients had known sooner, before the hospital stay, before the stroke that changed everything. Hi, I'm Dr. Sam Wells. I've been working with people over 60 for more than 20 years here in the US. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to help you see the truth behind some of those innocent-looking vitamins. I know you care about your health. I also know that at this age, we don't have time to make another mistake. Have you ever felt suddenly dizzy, mentally foggy, even after a full night's sleep? Maybe your hands or feet go numb. Your heart races out of nowhere. Don't ignore those signs. One of my patients, Joan, 72, thought B12 would give her more energy, but she used the synthetic cyanocobalamin form in high doses for months. She ended up with blood pressure issues and persistent numbness in her hands. It only got better after we stopped the supplement and switched to a safer form. Today I want to walk you through 7 vitamins that seem good for everyone, but can actually become double-edged swords, especially in older adults. They can quietly harm your brain, blood vessels, and nervous system if taken the wrong way. I'll explain which forms to avoid, the red flags to look for, and the safer alternatives I recommend in my clinical practice. If you're serious about staying sharp, staying strong, and staying in charge of your health, subscribe to Wellness Unfolds. This isn't just a video. It's a reminder to never have to say the words, if only. 1. Vitamin A. When the eye health pill becomes a hidden threat to your brain, you've probably heard for years that vitamin A helps your eyes, skin, and aging. But here's the part they don't tell you: using the wrong type of vitamin A, especially synthetic ones like retinol palmitate or retinol acetate, can silently damage your brain, raise stroke risk, and overload your liver. I remember one patient, Harold, 74. He was very diligent about taking his daily vitamin A, believing it helped his night vision for driving. Then one day he called me complaining of a splitting headache, nausea, dizziness, and blurry vision. An MRI showed increased pressure inside his skull, a dangerous condition that can lead to brain bleeding if left unchecked. Further tests revealed toxic levels of vitamin A in his liver. The cause: he'd been taking high doses of retinol acetate synthetic vitamin A for years. At his age, his liver couldn't clear it out fast enough. The result was neurotoxicity. I'm not telling you this to scare you, but to help you understand vitamin A isn't bad. But when it's the wrong form and used without guidance, it can shrink the tiny vessels in your brain, cause headaches you chalk up to just aging, and trigger serious problems you never saw coming. The issue lies in the synthetic forms. The most common vitamin A forms in multivitamins. Retinol palmitate and retinol acetate are man-made. They absorb quickly, but they also build up easily, especially in older adults. Unlike beta-carotene, the plant-based precursor to vitamin A, these forms don't have a natural shut-off switch. Your body keeps absorbing them even when it's had enough. That leads to toxic buildup in your liver, brain, and nervous system. Early signs of vitamin A. Toxicity include dizziness, when standing, unexplained headaches, nausea, blurry vision, and poor balance. These are often mistaken for just getting older, but they're actually red flags from your nervous system. Here's another important fact. As we age, our liver slows down. Fat-soluble vitamins like A don't clear out as easily. What your body could handle at 40 may no longer be safe at 65 or 70. Yet many people still take high-dose synthetic vitamin A thinking it'll help their vision. So what can you do instead? Yes, there's a better way. Use natural sources of vitamin A, especially beta-carotene from plants. Beta-carotene is found in carrots, pumpkin, spinach, kale, mangoes, papaya, and your body only converts it to vitamin A when needed. When your body has enough, it stops converting so you don't build up toxic levels. This is a natural safety net that synthetic vitamin A doesn't offer. Recent studies show that beta-carotene from whole foods may reduce the risk of macular degeneration and protect the brain's microcirculation. In contrast, High doses of synthetic retinol increase the risk of fractures and liver damage in older adults. So what's the safe solution? If you're taking a multivitamin, read the label. If it lists retinol palmitate or retinol acetate, especially at doses above 3,000 IU per day, talk to your doctor. You might not need it at all, or you might need to switch. I often recommend my older patients get their beta-carotene from food or from plant-based supplements. It's safer, gentler, and doesn't put stress on your liver or nervous system. Remember, not everything labeled vitamin is harmless. And at our age, being mindful of what we put into our bodies is one of the smartest ways to protect the life we still have ahead. We'll dive into the next risky vitamins in the upcoming videos. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Wellness Unfolds. These are the things I truly believe could save a life if heard at the right time. 2. Vitamin B6. When high doses start tricking your nervous system. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, try to get out of bed, and suddenly your legs feel numb. You start walking, but it feels like you're sinking into soft sand, like you've lost control of your steps. Your hands start to tremble as if they're no longer listening to you. Most people would think it's just getting older or poor circulation. But in some of the cases, I've seen the real culprit was something no one expected: vitamin B6. Sounds strange, right? B6 is known as the nerve vitamin. It's often recommended to boost mood, help with sleep, reduce fatigue. But what I've seen in my clinic is this: when taken the wrong way, especially in high doses over time, B6 can actually damage your nerves and in some cases increase the risk of stroke. One of my former patients, Helen, 68, came to see me with ongoing numbness in her hands and feet, along with balance issues. She didn't have diabetes, no high blood pressure, didn't drink alcohol. But when I asked about supplements, she pulled out a bottle of high-dose neurovitamins she'd been taking daily for over a year. Each capsule had 200 milliliters of B6, twice the safe limit for adults. Her tests later showed peripheral nerve damage and, more importantly, high levels of homocysteine in her blood. Most people haven't heard of this, but elevated homocysteine is a major risk factor for ischemic stroke, the most common and dangerous kind among older adults. So why does this happen? Vitamin B6 is essential in proper amounts. But when taken in excess, especially more than 100 milliliters a day for weeks or months, it can disrupt your nervous system. It inflames the tiny nerves in your hands and feet, causing numbness, tingling, burning, or that prickly feeling. It also messes with your balance and coordination. There's something else. High B6 can throw off the balance with its two companions, B12 and B9 folate. If you have too much B6 but not enough of the others, your body can't process homocysteine properly. That leads to blood vessel damage and increases your stroke risk. This explains why many people taking nerve support vitamins unknowingly put themselves in danger of brain and vascular issues. Ever noticed your hands or feet go cold or numb after sitting too long? Felt dizzy standing up too quickly? It might not just be aging, it could be your nervous system waving a red flag. And I hope you won't ignore it. So what's the safe solution? First, check how much B6 is in the supplements you're using, especially B-complex blends or brain-boosting or energy formulas. Many of them contain 100 to 300 milligrams of B6 per pill, while the safe daily limit is under 100 milligrams for adults. Second, try to get your B6 from natural food sources which your body absorbs more gently. You'll find it in chicken, salmon, bananas, avocados, potatoes, sunflower seeds, and leafy greens. When your diet is balanced, your body knows how to absorb what it needs, something no pill can fully replicate. I always advise my patients not to take high-dose B6 supplements unless specifically recommended by a doctor. Even if you've read somewhere that B6 helps with anxiety or sleep, it only works when used at the right dose at the right time and with the right balance of other nutrients. The goal isn't to take more just to be safe, it's to understand when your body truly needs it and when to hold back. Vitamins aren't magic. Used right, they help. Used wrong, they add stress, especially to an aging nervous system. I'm sharing this not just as a doctor, but as a friend. Someone who's seen too many patients pay the price for small misunderstandings about pills that seemed harmless. If you or someone you love is taking high-dose B6 and feeling numbness, shakiness, dizziness, or off balance, talk to a doctor. These could be early signs of something you don't want to overlook. In the next episode, I'll talk about a vitamin that many believe strengthens the brain, but when used the wrong way might do just the opposite. Stay with me on Wellness Unfolds. And if anything I said made you rethink the vitamins you're taking, I believe this video has done its job. 3. Vitamin B12. When the memory booster shot may put you at risk. Have you ever been told to get B12 shots to boost memory energy or reduce fatigue? You're not alone. Many older adults come to me with a prescription for weekly or monthly B12 injections, sometimes on their own, sometimes recommended by friends or family. They say B12 is good for the brain, right? It helps prevent memory loss. And that's partly true. B12 is essential for brain and nerve function. A deficiency can cause memory loss, nerve damage, even brain shrinkage if left untreated. But here's what hardly anyone mentions: not all forms of B12 are the same. And the wrong form, especially the synthetic cyanocobalamin, can quietly raise your stroke risk. One of my patients, George, 74, a retired engineer, used to walk daily and stayed mentally sharp. Then one day his vision blurred and he lost strength on one side of his body. He was hospitalized with a mild stroke. No one connected it to B12 at first. But when I reviewed his records, I found something important. For the past 6 months, he'd been getting weekly cyanocobalamin injections recommended by an acquaintance without testing his blood levels first. Here's the problem. Cyanocobalamin is a cheap synthetic version of B12. It's commonly used in shots and pills, but your body has to convert it into the active forms methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin, and that process releases a small amount of cyanide. Yes, you read that right. Cyanide, a toxic compound. Now, in healthy people, small amounts can be filtered out by the liver and kidneys. But as we age, those systems slow down. Cyanide can build up, putting stress on your nerves and blood vessels. What's more, cyanocobalamin isn't very effective at reducing homocysteine, unlike natural B12. This can lead to high homocysteine levels, which dramatically increases your risk for blood clots and stroke. You might not have high blood pressure or diabetes, but elevated homocysteine alone can double or triple your risk. There's a well-known study from the Framingham Heart Institute in the US that tracked thousands of people over 10 years. It found that those with high homocysteine had 2 to 3 times the stroke risk, even if they seemed healthy otherwise. And here's the frustrating part. Side effects from cyanocobalamin are often mistaken for aging. Feel dizzy after a shot. Maybe you're just tired. Feel confused or weak on one side. Maybe you didn't sleep well. But sometimes those are the first signs of blood vessel damage in the brain. I once treated a woman 69 years old, healthy by all appearances. She'd been taking a brain booster pill with high-dose cyanocobalamin for a few months. Then came the brain fog, the muscle fatigue, the mental confusion. Tests showed high homocysteine, mild inflammation in her blood vessels, and declining liver and kidney function. Only after switching to natural B12 and adjusting her diet did she start to recover. So the solution isn't to ditch B12 altogether, it's to use the right kind in the right way for the right person. First, test your blood before taking B12, especially if you're not vegan, don't have stomach issues, or haven't been on acid blockers long-term. You may not need it. Second, if you do need B12, choose methylcobalamin. This is the active natural form. It doesn't produce cyanide, doesn't require conversion, and it's easier for your body to absorb, especially for older adults, even though it costs a little more. You'll find methylcobalamin listed clearly on quality B12 supplements. It's often recommended for seniors with nerve problems, mild memory issues, or after stomach surgery. Third, don't get B12 injections without medical supervision. They're not just about the vitamin, they can give people false confidence and distract from the real cause of fatigue or fog, which might be lack of sleep, low activity, or even depression. I always tell my patients vitamins should support your life, not replace your understanding of what your body truly needs. And above all, remember this. After age 60, our bodies don't handle things the way they used to. A small excess, a wrong form, it can build up and have serious consequences if we're not paying attention. Talk to your doctor. Check the label on your B12. Choose the gentler, natural route when possible. Next, I'll talk about a vitamin. Many believe helps strengthen bones, but when taken in excess might lead calcium to the wrong places and increase your stroke risk. If you care about your memory, your blood vessels, and the things that truly help you live longer and better. I hope you'll keep following along with me here on Wellness Unfolds. Sometimes the smallest misunderstandings cause the biggest harm, but the right knowledge at the right moment can change the path ahead. 4. Vitamin E. When the anti-aging pill quietly raises your risk of brain bleeds. I get this question all the time from patients over 60. Should I take vitamin E to prevent aging, or... My friend says vitamin E is good for the heart. Should I take it every day? Most of them speak with full confidence, convinced that vitamin E is one of the safest supplements out there. But the truth is, it's not that simple. Over the past 20 years working with older adults, I've seen more than a few cases of unexpected bleeding, even brain hemorrhage linked to long-term high-dose use of synthetic vitamin E, especially when combined with blood thinners like aspirin or warfarin. That's the warning I want to make clear today. Vitamin E isn't as harmless as you might think, and the synthetic form DL-alpha tocopherol is the real concern. Think of the blood vessels in your brain like tiny, delicate tubes. They need just the right balance of flexibility and blood viscosity to stay intact and free of clots. But when you flood your system with synthetic vitamin E every day, thinking it'll protect your cells, what you're actually doing is thinning your blood too much, making those fragile vessels prone to leaks or rupture. One of my patients, Linda, 68, had no history of high blood pressure, stayed sharp and independent. Then one day she slipped and collapsed in the bathroom. At the hospital, she was diagnosed with a subarachnoid hemorrhage, a type of bleeding stroke. Her family was confused. She was healthy, no known issues. But when I dug deeper, I learned she had been taking synthetic vitamin E daily for 5 years and also using low-dose aspirin to protect her heart based on a friend's advice. The combination of aspirin, which reduces platelet activity, and synthetic vitamin E, which further slows clotting, had created a ticking time bomb in her brain's tiny vessels. And here's what most people don't know. DL-alpha tocopherol. The synthetic form found in many supplements is structurally different from the natural D-alpha form. Our bodies recognize and use the natural version more efficiently. The synthetic one is made through chemical processes, contains non-biological isomers, and tends to accumulate in tissues over time, leading to oxidative imbalance. So while you may be taking vitamin E daily to brighten your skin, slow aging, or support your heart, you could also be unknowingly disrupting your clotting system, especially if you're over 60 and your body clears toxins more slowly. You're on aspirin or other blood thinners. You've had previous head trauma or weak blood vessels. You're taking supplements based on hearsay without checking the dose. The early signs of this imbalance are easy to miss. Unexplained bruising, frequent nosebleeds, bleeding gums, dizziness, or blurry vision. Many chalk it up to low iron or poor sleep, but it could be a warning from your blood. Back in 2011, a large study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, found that people taking high doses of vitamin E over 400 IU day had a significantly higher risk of brain hemorrhage, especially men. This wasn't a small study. It followed over 35,000 participants for more than 7 years. So should you stop vitamin E completely? Not necessarily if you take the right form and the right dose. If you do need a supplement, choose natural vitamin E. Look for D-alpha tocopherol or natural mixed tocopherols. These are more easily absorbed and less likely to cause bleeding complications. Even better, get your vitamin E from food. It's safer, more balanced, and benefits your whole body. Try adding more of these into your diet. Sunflower seeds, almonds, avocados, dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, extra virgin olive oil. These foods not only provide natural vitamin E, but also contain other antioxidants that support brain and heart health without thinning your blood too much. What's critical is this: don't take high-dose vitamin E long-term without guidance, especially if you're on medications that affect clotting or have risk factors for stroke. Talk to your doctor. And if you do take vitamin E, consider getting your blood clotting checked from time to time. Vitamin E is a double-edged sword. It can protect your blood vessels if used right, or throw your system off balance if overused. And after 60, even small imbalances can lead to serious outcomes. I always tell my patients, no pill can replace understanding. Don't let something that seems harmless become the cause of a stroke you never saw coming. Next, I'll talk about a vitamin many people use to prevent bone loss: but that might actually increase calcium buildup and clog brain vessels if taken in excess. Stay tuned because no one understands your body better than you do. 5. Vitamin D. When the healthy dose turns toxic after 60. You've probably heard it before. Older adults should take more vitamin D to protect their bones. That advice is everywhere. But that well-meaning suggestion has led millions of people to use vitamin D the wrong way, creating serious imbalances without even realizing it. Over my 2 decades working with seniors in the U.S., I've seen far too many patients land in the hospital with fatigue, high blood pressure, or even stroke, all traced back to one thing: long-term high-dose vitamin D supplementation. Let's start with the basics. Vitamin D isn't just for bones. It's a hormone that regulates calcium levels in the blood and directly impacts your heart, blood pressure, and nervous system. When you take high doses daily, especially from synthetic pills, without checking your blood levels or getting medical advice, you risk vitamin D toxicity. The proper term, hypercalcemia from vitamin D overdose. One of my patients, Walter, 72, came in complaining of ongoing fatigue, muscle pain, constipation, and unexplained high blood pressure. He didn't have diabetes, no kidney disease, and ate well, but his blood tests showed elevated calcium and vitamin D levels. It turned out he'd been taking 10,000 IU of vitamin D daily for 8 months, based on advice from a health channel online. This is incredibly risky. When vitamin D levels stay too high, it drives up calcium absorption in your gut, raises blood calcium, and causes calcium to deposit in soft tissues, including artery walls. Over time, this hardens and narrows your arteries, a process called vascular calcification. This sets the stage for high blood pressure, reduced brain circulation, and eventually stroke. Older adults are at even higher risk because kidney function slows with age. That means excess calcium isn't cleared efficiently and builds up faster. Are you feeling fatigue without clear reason? Excessive thirst or frequent urination? Muscle pain or back stiffness? High blood pressure despite a low-salt diet? Digestive issues like nausea or loss of appetite? If so, and you're taking daily vitamin D, you might already have mild to moderate vitamin D overload. I'm not saying you shouldn't take vitamin D. In fact, maintaining optimal vitamin D levels around 30-50 ng/ml is important for older adults to prevent osteoporosis and hip fractures, support immune function, protect heart and brain health. But the key isn't whether you take it, it's how much and for how long. Here's what I always tell my patients. 1. Don't exceed 4,000 IU day without specific medical guidance or confirmed deficiency. 2. Avoid taking high doses, 5,000 to 10,000 IU day for more than 3 months without regular lab monitoring. 3. Get your vitamin D and calcium levels tested every 6 months. 4. Always pair vitamin D with magnesium through food or mild supplements, which helps balance calcium and reduce the risk of toxicity. And if you want a safer, more natural way to get your vitamin D, get 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure in the morning between 7 to 9 a.m. at least 3 times a week. This is the most effective and self-regulating way to make vitamin D. Eat foods rich in vitamin D like salmon, mackerel, eggs, beef liver, or fortified milk. Boost your intake of leafy greens, avocados, and chia seeds to help process calcium and support healthy blood vessels. Don't let a pill meant to protect your bones end up clogging your arteries. You don't need to fear vitamin D, you just need to use it wisely. At our age, a mild excess over time can be even more dangerous than a short-term deficiency because it builds up quietly and disrupts your body's balance slowly. If someone tells you, just take as much vitamin D as you can, we don't get enough sun anyway. Ask them, have they had their blood tested? Do they know a stroke can happen from a vitamin they thought was harmless? Knowledge is the first step to taking control, and nothing matters more than truly understanding your own body. In the next episode, I'll explain why folic acid, a synthetic form of vitamin B9 commonly found in multivitamins, might actually harm your brain if used the wrong way. Stay with me. 6. Folic acid. When the brain-boosting vitamin quietly raises your stroke risk. You've probably heard that vitamin B9 is great for memory, brain health, and preventing cognitive decline. That's true, but only if you're using the right form, the right dose, and under the right medical circumstances. Over the past 20 years working with older adults in the U.S., I've seen more than a few cases where patients ended up in the hospital not because they forgot their vitamins, but because they were taking folic acid and synthetic B12 together. These two, commonly found in brain health or anti-anemia supplements, can actually raise your homocysteine levels, a blood marker strongly linked to ischemic strokes. And I wish more people knew this before adding memory pills to their daily routine. What's the difference between folic acid and folate? Folate is the natural form of vitamin B9 found in leafy greens, beans, citrus fruits. But in supplements and fortified foods like bread or cereal, manufacturers use folic acid, a more stable, cheaper lab-made version. The issue: folic acid is harder for older bodies to process. Folic acid needs an enzyme called DHFR to convert it into the active form your body can use. But that enzyme slows down with age, and it's even less effective in people with certain genetics or liver problems. The result: folic acid lingers in your blood inactive. It gives the illusion that you've got enough, but your cells are still not getting what they need. Worse, when you take high doses of folic acid, especially alongside synthetic B12 cyanocobalamin, your homocysteine levels can spike. And that leads to thicker, stickier blood, higher risk of plaque in your arteries, weakened blood vessel walls, greater chance of an ischemic stroke. One major U.S. study with over 20,000 older adults found that those who took more than 1,000 mcg of folic acid per day, especially with synthetic B12, had nearly double the homocysteine levels compared to those who didn't supplement. Early symptoms are easy to miss. Older adults often mistake early signs of high homocysteine for normal aging: lingering fatigue even with enough sleep, mild but persistent headaches sometimes around the eyes or neck, short-term memory lapses, forgetting names or recent conversations, difficulty focusing especially later in the day, minor muscle twitches or occasional unsteadiness when walking. If you run a blood test and your homocysteine is high, that's a red flag. Your methylation cycle is off, and tiny vessels in your brain might already be under silent attack. Why do so many people get this wrong? 1. The more is better mindset. Many brain booster supplements for seniors contain 400-800 mcg of folic acid plus 500-1000 mcg of synthetic B12. 2. Folic acid is added to many fortified foods, so people unknowingly consume 2 to 3 times the recommended daily amount. 3. Most doctors don't routinely test for homocysteine, even though it's a key stroke risk marker when B vitamins are out of balance. What's the safe and effective approach? 1. Prioritize folate from real food. Spinach, kale, broccoli, lentils, green peas, avocados, and oranges are rich in folate, and they come with fiber, antioxidants, and heart-healthy nutrients. 2. Avoid taking more than 400 mcg of folic acid per day unless specifically advised by your doctor. 3. If you're taking supplements with cyanocobalamin, talk to your doctor about switching to methylcobalamin, the natural active form of B12 that's safer and easier to absorb. 4. If you do need to supplement B9, look for methylfolate 5-MTHF. It's the active form, especially helpful for people with MTHFR gene variations. 5. Ask your doctor to include homocysteine testing in your next blood work, especially if you're over 60 or have a history of vascular issues. A vitamin can either protect your brain or slowly damage it depending on how you use it. What matters isn't just the name vitamin B9, it's the form, the dose, and how it interacts with other vitamins. Don't let a well-meaning supplement quietly chip away at your memory or raise your stroke risk. That's why I started Wellness Unfolds, to share the things I wish my patients had learned before it was too late. Go check your supplement cabinet. If you see folic acid 800 mcg plus cyanocobalamin 1000 mcg, don't keep taking it blindly. Reread the label. Ask your doctor. And remember, taking the wrong form, even with good intentions, can be a double-edged sword. And if this message helped you see things differently, share it with someone you love, because someone you care about might also be using folic acid the wrong way without knowing it. 7. Niacin, the hidden risk behind this heart-healthy vitamin. You might be surprised to learn that one of the vitamins often promoted as good for your heart is also one of the hidden reasons older adults land in the ER with low blood pressure, severe headaches, or even a brain hemorrhage. That vitamin is niacin, also known as vitamin B3. especially in its high-dose form nicotinic acid commonly found in cholesterol-lowering liver detox or energy-boosting supplements. In my 20-plus years treating older adults in the U.S., I've seen cases where a single daily vitamin meant to help circulation or clean arteries ended up triggering a bleeding stroke. The person didn't have major health problems. They just believed that a daily dose of niacin would protect them. But they didn't know that high-dose niacin could quietly set the stage for something much worse. What is niacin and why is high dose dangerous? Niacin is a form of vitamin B3 essential for energy metabolism and cell function. At low doses, 15 to 30 milligrams a day, it's safe and necessary. But at high doses, 500 milligrams or more, niacin starts acting like a drug, especially nicotinic acid. It becomes a powerful vasodilator, meaning it suddenly widens your blood vessels. That may sound good, but for older adults, it can cause a rapid drop in blood pressure surge, blood flow to the brain, and rupture weak vessels. The result: a hemorrhagic stroke with no warning. One case I'll never forget was Linda, 68 years old, who came into the hospital with a severe headache, vomiting, dizziness, and nearly passed out. She had no high blood pressure, no clotting issues, and ate well. But when we asked about supplements, she said she'd been taking a natural cholesterol remedy from an online brand containing 1,000 milligrams of niacin daily for 5 straight months. A CT scan showed bleeding in her brain's ventricular system, a very serious condition. She had no idea that her natural supplement could cause this. Early warning signs of high-dose niacin use: flushing red-hot skin on your face, neck, or shoulders within 30 minutes of taking it, pulsating headaches often on one side, racing heartbeat or a strange flutter in your chest, dizziness or lightheadedness when standing, fainting or feeling like you might collapse. These aren't minor side effects, they're your body waving a red flag that your blood vessels are under too much strain. Why is high-dose niacin still so common? Niacin used to be a popular treatment for high cholesterol before modern statins came along. But more recent studies have shown that high-dose niacin doesn't lower heart risk, and the harm may outweigh the benefits, especially for stroke. On top of that, the market is full of flush-free niacin products, but many don't clearly list what form of niacin they use. Some, like inositol hexanocatonate, may not cause flushing, but can build up in the liver and cause silent damage over time. What's the safe path for adults over 60? 1. Don't take more than 500 milligrams a day of niacin without a doctor's supervision. 2. Avoid flush-free or time-release niacin unless you fully understand the form and trust the source. 3. To lower cholesterol naturally, start with lifestyle changes. Eat less saturated fat, eat more vegetables, move daily, and sleep well. 4. If a doctor prescribes niacin, monitor your blood pressure, liver enzymes, and physical reactions every few weeks. 5. Most multivitamins contain less than 35 milligrams of niacin. That's safe, but check labels to avoid accidental overdosing from multiple supplements. Niacin is a double-edged vitamin. Used wisely, it can help. Used carelessly, especially in fragile blood vessels, it can trigger one of the most dangerous strokes, a brain bleed. And remember, flushing isn't just a side effect. It's your body's way of warning you. If you or a loved one is taking niacin, ask yourself, do I actually need this dose? Am I getting regular health checkups? Is this product clear, safe, and from a trusted source? Don't let one vitamin put your brain and your independence at risk. Summary: 7. Synthetic vitamins that may quietly increase stroke risk after 60. 1. Vitamin A. Retinol palmitate, acetate. Synthetic forms build up in the liver, narrowing brain capillaries and raising intracranial pressure, leading to headaches, nausea, dizziness, and blurred vision. 2. Vitamin B6 pyridoxine. High doses over time can damage nerves and raise homocysteine levels, a key risk factor for ischemic stroke. 3. Vitamin B12 cyanocobalamin. This synthetic form produces cyanide during conversion, raises homocysteine, and increases the risk of blood clots. 4. Vitamin E, DL-alpha, tocopherol. The synthetic version thins blood excessively. When combined with anticoagulants, it raises the risk of brain hemorrhage. 5. Vitamin D. High dose, long-term, can cause high calcium levels, hardening arteries, and raising blood pressure, both leading to higher stroke risk. 6. Folic acid synthetic B9. When taken in high doses with synthetic B12, it can raise homocysteine levels, elevating heart and stroke risk. 7. Niacin. Vitamin B3. Nicotinic acid. High doses dilate blood vessels, rapidly dropping blood pressure and increasing the risk of brain bleeds, especially without medical supervision. After age 60, every supplement you take matters. Doses, forms, and interactions with medications or health conditions should be reviewed carefully. Something as simple as taking the wrong form of vitamin A, B12, or too much vitamin D can lead to serious outcomes: stroke, nerve damage, or loss of independence. We tend to think vitamins are always good, but when used incorrectly, they can quietly become your worst enemy. What can you do starting today? Read supplement labels carefully. Know the form and dosage. Ask your doctor about relevant blood tests, especially homocysteine and vitamin levels. Get most of your nutrients from whole foods, which provide balanced support. Keep a list of your supplements and bring it to every medical visit for safe, informed guidance. Have you ever closely examined what you're taking daily? Is there a vitamin you thought was good, but now you're not so sure? Share your thoughts and story in the comments. I read every one of them. And if this video helped you, please pass it along to someone you care about. A single vitamin mistake could quietly threaten their health too. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on notifications. Don't miss the next vital message for anyone over 60. See you in the next video.